Hey guys, it's Emma's Happy List. I'm Emma and this is episode 10, or as the Kiwis would say, episode 10. And speaking of Kiwis, I am joined by a very special Kiwi today called Blake. So without further ado, let's dive straight in. I'm going to start with a song. His name is Blakey, he is my matey, and he's probably annoyed because he is the subject of this song.
Well, I thought you were going to actually play a song like from like the radio.
No.
No,
Hi,
I
Blake.
like that. Hi, Emma. Hi, Emma. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Excellent.
Good. Did you like my song?
I did. It was wonderful.
I feel like I can do better. His name is Blakey. He is my matey. And he's smiling with his beard. What rhymes with beard?
Feared.
Ooh, which makes him very feared. I like it. I reckon I'm gonna put on my happy list, write in silly songs. Write in silly songs about my pals.
I'll write on mine. I'll write on mine. Listen to silly songs written about me by my pals.
I have big news. I have breaking news.
What is it?
So my breaking news today is I have officially run out of pages in this book, which is my gratitude book, which is where I started my happy list. I know,
Wow.
I've officially run out of pages. But the good news is I bought a new one. This one also has shiny sides for everyone who's watching. It's pretty, isn't it? It's got an E at the front, so I can't lose it. And everybody knows it's mine. And I've already started migrating my happy list into it.
Right on.
I know, I've still got a way to go, but this is going to be the new Bible.
I'm going to show you mine. It says top secret accounting business. And I think that's pretty nifty because technically I'm an accountant, even though I'm not working as one right now.
Yeah, sorry, we haven't even introduced you. Introduce yourself. Hi Blake. Go ahead.
Hi, Emma. I'm Blake. I am a friend of Emma's. We met when we were working together at a bar in Arrowtown in New Zealand, which I think Emma briefed on it as one of her places to have a beer in that podcast.
Yeah.
The Fork and Tap, and if you say that really fast, it's kind of funny, the Fork and Tap.
Do you know what's also really funny? The way
What?
New Zealanders say my name.
Emma?
Emma. I believe it's Emma. And also, say Emma, say Emma, it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to bed.
Emma, it's 10 o'clock, I'm going to bed.
It's not as bad as it used to be.
No,
Where are you right now? Tell everyone.
I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee, in the USA. I moved here in August to live with my soon-to-be wife, which is my wife now, but she was my fiance then. So living the Nashville dream, country music and honky tonk and cowboy hats.
And lots of barbecue food.
Lots of barbecue food. I had some really good slow-cooked pork ribs at my friend's house last night.
Yeah.
Cover them in brown sugar and spices and stuff like that. And I tell you what, I need to learn how to do it.
Yeah. Is it something you're going to pass down to your grandchildren, a recipe?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna get the recipe from Siobhan, and she's gonna teach me.
That sounds delightful. So you're from New Zealand originally. You're in America now. We actually met when you were just back from Scotland. No, back from the world trip.
Yeah, I done a 18-month trip around Europe and then did a month-long trip across the USA. And I got back to New Zealand, and instead of taking up accounting again, I decided I would look at getting into the tourism industry. So that's when, you remember I took you up on the motorbike trip that time?
I do. Yeah, it was awesome.
Working for Nomad Safari, scouting out the tourism industry and working at the Fork and Tap as barman.
Yeah.
To make some cash.
We actually met at the Fork and Tap party, didn't we? What party was it? Like, it was...
When we went over, it was a Christmas party when we went over to the Cardrona distillery.
Yeah, do you know what? Do you know why I get so confused in my head? It was the Christmas party, but it was summertime, which in my head is weird, which is why I was was it summer party? Was it Christmas party? But it's because obviously we were upside down.
Christmas should be in summer, so you can go to the beach or to the lake or the river
I
and have a
mean,
barbecue.
it's debatable, depending on what side of the world you grew up, I suppose.
But isn't it really good though in New Zealand, where the entire country shuts down from that end of like just before Christmas to like 2 weeks after New Year? Like nothing's open. Queenstown's a little bit different because it's tourism, but like everyone's just on holiday.
Yeah, it was a pretty good Christmas day actually. So I went over to my friend's house, and they had a hammock, and it was really sunny, and we got very merry and had loads of barbecue food as well. And I chilled out in the hammock for a lot of it, and then yeah, I remember ruining their carpet because I don't open champagne bottles very graciously. But apart from that, it was delightful.
Well, that's what Christmas is about.
Yeah,
So.
ruining carpets, ruining friendships.
We're always really drunk on Christmas, though. I imagine it's a universal thing.
Yeah, for sure. So going back then, let's rewind. I remember the first time I ever saw you, because you got a very distinctive appearance with your great big bushy beard. And you name the film.
I'm gonna pick Harry Potter.
No, Hot Fuzz.
Okay, sweet. It's been a while since I've seen that. I do like that movie though.
It's such a great movie. Yeah, so your distinctive appearance, but I was saying this about one of my other friends as well. There's been a few instances in my life where I've noticed someone and I've just known straight away we're going to be friends. And you were one.
Yeah, it was straight away, right?
Yeah,
I think
literally.
we were talking for about 10 minutes and then decided we were best friends and that we were going to go on adventures around Queenstown together.
Literally, that is exactly how the conversation went. It's like, hi, I'm Blake. Hi, I'm Emma. You like adventure? I like adventure. Let's go.
And it worked out. Plus, you were really smiley, and I like smiley people. So
I'm quite smiley. Thank you. It's really nice of you to say. And actually, one of the first conversations we ever had was about how to win friends and influence people. We both read that book. And we were both listening very well to one another. And I was like, this guy's listening lots. And he was like, oh, this girl's listening lots. So yeah, we had good skills from that book, I believe.
Yeah, still one of the best books I've ever read.
Yeah, it's a really good book, actually. Another one I've recommended quite a few books on the podcast so far. That's another one.
It's written by Dale Carnegie. And it's like written in 1920 or something like that. It's
yeah,
really,
that's
really
what I was going to say. It's like really old, but really like universal. Like, because, it's just human nature, isn't it? It's just how humans are and how to be nice to people, essentially, I feel. Or how I think one of the biggest things I took away from that book is that people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
And look at me giving people platforms to talk about themselves. How nice am I?
So lovely.
I am lovely. I'm just kidding. But let's talk about your happy list then. So first of all, do you actually have a happy list, or have you literally scrawled one now?
After we talked about this the other day, when I was sitting there building lights at work, and I listened to all your podcasts ever since, and I wrote down a happy list.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
I thought that was just such a great idea, and I've actually been telling people about it here. And some people who I thought would think it was dumb have been like, wow, that's really cool. It's a good idea.
That explains my little American percentage. When I've had a little look at like the listening stats, I'm like, okay, I know Blake in America, but I can't think of anyone else that would want to listen to my voice over in America. But it must be you, your influence. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Love.
Spreading the joy.
Yeah, so my happy list is, I've got 23 things on it at the moment.
Oh, that's amazing. That's such a good start.
Yeah, and they're not in any specific order because I just was sitting down throwing some things down at the list. But the one that sort of sticks out to me is a combination of two.
Ooh, how intriguing.
And it's one of them is one that has kind of been covered by a few people, and one's something that's completely different. And it's a weird combination of them, and it sort of harks back to New Zealand, which you'll sort of get a bit when I start talking about it. So I can delve on in if you like.
I am really curious, but I also want to make the point. So I've already said this, I think, previously, but just to reiterate to everyone who's listening, anyone is welcome onto this podcast to share what makes them happy. And like a lot of the anxiety comes from, oh yeah, but it's already been mentioned, and it's, you know, okay, the fact that it's universal is great because that means that it resonates with different people, but also your version of that is going to be very different, and your story behind why that means something to you and why that brings you joy is going to be very different from someone else's reasons why.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? There's going to be like a specific instance of your life where you're like, yep, I really felt like really happy and grateful and joy when I was in that situation. So I never ever want anyone to feel like they can't share because it's been taken, if you will, because it's not been taken. It belongs to the universe. So go ahead.
It's quite fun listening to that on that point. It's quite fun listening to the podcast because every time someone talks about something, generally it's on your list as well, and you can think about, you guys are talking about specific examples that pertain to your own experiences, and I've got my own things that I just want to just shout at the podcast. I'm like, yeah. So
that happens it's though.
Really fun.
That is like, that is the human experience though, isn't it? Like every story that you've ever been told, you will automatically put your own like spices onto it, if that makes sense. You will always internalize it with your own flavor. So I'm so curious. You have to like put me out of my misery. Tell me.
Okay. So the one that people will obviously has been talked about before is being somewhere peaceful or lovely. One of your favorite places. Going to that place that you love going to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole lot of places I've been. I'm lucky to have traveled quite extensively around Europe, the USA. I've been to Japan and Australia, and obviously New Zealand as well. And some of the places I've been have been absolutely spectacular. So in the mountains of France, or around the islands of Scotland, like the Isle of Skye particularly, or in the...
And you didn't even bother coming to Wales.
Had I known you, maybe...
I'm just kidding. There's always time.
There is definitely always time. But in particular for me, places where I like to go in New Zealand, I still think it's the most stunning place in the world, and it's sort of the best part about it is there's so many different sceneries. They're so vastly different. They're so close together.
Yeah.
So you can drive an hour and be in some completely different landscape than you were when you left. So there's two specific places I want to talk about, and one, I'm not sure if you ever went up there, but it's up the Arrow River from Arrowtown at Macetown.
Yeah.
So I love that place. In autumn, it's just a bustling display of all different colours of autumn. So it's the browns and oranges and golds, and it's just quite breathtakingly beautiful. And then it's got all the ruins of the old gold mining huts about it, and the river and mountains and all that sort of thing that comes with it. So it's quite a stunning sort of place. And then if you go in spring, you get all the lupin blooms and the broom flowers as well. So it gives that gorgeous smell that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one place. And then the other place is, and this one, I'm not sure if you did go here, but you know, if you go down to Dunedin from Queenstown,
yes,
and you come to the town Alexandra with the clock on the hill.
Yes.
So the old main road between Queenstown and Dunedin used to basically go in a straight line over that hill where the clock is and barrel down over the high country into Dunedin.
Yes.
Whereas now it goes right around the outside of that high country because it's normally covered in snow over winter. But it's called the Old Dunstan Road because the area is called Dunstan up around Alexandra. And if you go down the Old Dunstan Road, you come to a place called Pulburn, which is where they filmed, if you guys have seen The Lord of the Rings, it's where they filmed the most part of Rohan with the horses and the rocks and all that sort of
Amazing.
stuff. And it is one of my favorite places I've ever been. It's just gorgeous.
I feel like this is really triggering memories from our very first conversation when we started planning trips, and I feel like it was one of the to-do lists that we maybe didn't do. We did loads, like, don't get me wrong.
We did talk about it, actually, yeah.
We did. I remember, and you were on about as well, camping there, I swear.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say. We probably talked about that because there's a lake there, and you can just pull your van or whatever your vehicle you're in up to the side of the lake and pitch your tent and chill out by the lake.
You literally sold it to me at the time, and you've sold it to me again, and I didn't go. Blake, you owe me. You said
I'm so sorry. I feel terrible.
Oh, I forgive you because we did have many adventures, and actually we had like, well, it was because of you that I had most of my like fair share of New Zealand adventures. I would
Mhm.
actually say to anyone who's going traveling or going like to New Zealand in particular to befriend the locals, because the locals are the ones that will know all the gems. Like obviously you get your list of like things that you can find on Google and stuff, but if you have a little chat to the locals, and like there was so many of them in Arrowtown because we worked at the bar, obviously, so many locals in there. And you get little gems, little sweet gems of what to do and where to go. And it can just like completely change your experience of the countries, I feel, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we love showing New Zealand off because it's a lot of fun, right?
Hmm.
And it's it's always fun taking people who you've got an affection for to places you love.
Are you telling me
So
you've got an affection for me?
everyone does. I mean, you're lovely. You're one of the loveliest people we all know.
Oh, stop. I am actually
Hmm.
burning up now. I'm blushing.
Um, but yeah, so we want to take people and show them the places that aren't on the tourist lists, and
Mm.
we very rarely do it if someone just sort of came into the pub who we never met before. But because you were working at the pub and all the locals at the pub liked you, then they were a lot more open to telling you places to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So when,
I
yeah,
ha-
when you do genuinely befriend the locals, we'll tell you the best places.
Yeah, for sure. It happened to me as well when I went to Belgium. So I went
Hmm.
to Belgium and I had a shared like car share from the airport. And in the car there was me, so from Wales. Then there was a girl from Belgium, from Brussels herself. Then we
Hmm.
had an American dude and his cousin who was Italian.
Hmm.
And there was like a 30-minute car journey into Brussels or whatever. And we were literally just like yapping the entire time. We bounced off each other so well. And the girl was like, "Oh, you should like come meet me this evening and I'll show you all the best places." And I was like, "Hell's yeah, like my luck
Hmm.
for that." And then she literally did. Like it was like, I love Brussels now. And I feel like it's because I went to all the nooks and crannies that like aren't very well known. Because I had the opportunity obviously to go see like the tourist spots, which I did,
Yeah.
but the fact that I was able to go with like a local to all the best little places, it was just amazing. So that is my top tip actually for travelers and anyone really. Just befriend the locals. They know so much more than,
Yeah.
Google.
And then on the flip side of that, if you're away traveling somewhere and you meet someone from somewhere else and you're gonna be friends with them, really become friends with them, because then when you go traveling to their neck of the woods, they can show you around where they're from. So I
Yeah.
did that when I was in Scotland. I met some people from Germany and the Czech Republic and from Texas.
Hmm.
And then so when I got to their area of the world while I was traveling, they took me out and we did things in their area. So in Czech Republic, we went out to this old quarry that had been turned into a swimming lake and just
Amazing.
jammed there swimming in the Czech Republic for a day. Then
Oh.
they took us out to like an outdoor bar and a farm, and we drank out there. It was just spectacular, and just from meeting the locals or meeting people and being friendly with them
Hmm.
just changes your whole ability to travel. Really.
Speaking of swimming, do
Mm-hmm.
you remember one specific memory where you and I went down to the river? What's it called?
At the Kauro.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you explain what happened, you sneaky sausage?
Hold on, what one was this? I have to think.
So when you got me to stand in a particular place for a particular picture.
Ah, that one on the Shotover. Yeah,
Oh,
so I.
Shotover, that's it. Shotover River. So like where they do all the jet
Mhm.
boat rides. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't you
yeah,
share, you little
so
scoundrel?
I was a motorbike tour guide for a company called Nomad Safaris in Queenstown, and we had quads that we would take people around on trips all around this mountain, Queenstown Hill, right behind Queenstown. And we had a couple of buggies, and I put Emma in a buggy one day, and we tore around the mountain, and we came down the back of the mountain, right down to this Shotover River. And being that I go down there every single day for work, I knew exactly where to stand in the good spots. And so I told Emma I'd get her a photo of her when the jet boat comes past. And for those of you guys that don't know, the shot of a jet is a twin V8 engined jet boat which tears down the river valley at ridiculous speeds.
And really close to the rocky walls, what do you call them?
So as long as the water is like 3 inches deep, the boat can travel in it, and it will just go really close to the rock walls as fast as it can go. It's terrifying, but it's a lot of fun. And I told Emma to stand down by the water, and I'll get a picture of her as the boat tears past in the background, which will make for a really cool picture because the boat will be turning, there'll be lots of spray coming up. What I didn't tell her is that exactly where she's staying is exactly where the spray from the boat is going to come. So as the boat came around the corner, just gunned it and covered Emma in about, I don't know, 300 litres of water.
I was going to say then, I was like, did you say spray? It wasn't a spray. It was an absolute drowning. I literally got absolutely drenched. And it's worth saying, I wasn't even in the water. Was I in the water? I was like literally on the edge. So the fact that it literally came so speeding around the corner. Yeah, and you got it all on video.
I did. I'm actually going to add that to my happy list of
stitching up your mates.
Mm-hmm.
And I was soaking for the rest of the journey because we obviously had to get back in the buggy and go up the top of the mountain. But yeah,
I still have no regrets about that.
You little scoundrel.
Well, see, we used to do that to our clients. We had like people had paid like $300 or $400 each for this trip that I took you on.
Yeah.
And we'd sit them down there and get them soaked, and they'd be like, "I just paid $400 to get soaked."
I should have clocked on though when you were like, "Oh, give me your phone. I'll get it on your phone," because you knew that my phone would never have survived that absolute drenching.
No.
So sneaky. So remind me again, like summarize your happy list items. So special places.
That was being somewhere peaceful, realistically. So like I said, Maidstone or Poolburn, nice and quiet, no one around that you can see, so nice and quiet.
Yeah.
The other one, this one is something that I haven't heard talk about, and it's not something that people often like to admit to enjoying. Lots of people do, but they're sort of seen as a bit bogan or a bit rough for liking it. But it's driving a car, full driving or riding a motorbike. So operating that sort of personal machinery for that sort of thing. So I love driving. I don't really care about driving on highways. That's not my thing. But driving basically too fast around corners. It's a windy roads. So all those roads around Queenstown up to Glenorchy, down the lake, over to Wanaka, that sort of thing. I just love driving on those roads. Four-wheel driving, so I've almost always had a four-wheel drive, and getting off-road in the backcountry and bowing your way up tracks, down rivers, breaking the vehicle and damaging things, or riding a motorbike, be that a dirt bike, or I used to have a 1000cc Honda sports bike, and I used to tear around roads on that. So I just love doing that and operating the machinery like that.
Yeah. Do you know what I think? So you are like, you've got like absolute polarities here. You are like, I really love peace and quiet and tranquility in the nature, in under the stars, camping, yada yada yada. And then you're like, and I love to tear shit up.
With loud music cranking at the same time.
Yeah, I love playing with this. Actually, I remember this because that time we were out on the buggies, I remember this well. I shit my pants basically.
I was going to say it would have gone pretty fast.
Yeah, you did tear it up, but it was super fun. Like, I think I really enjoy driving as well. But again, like not on the motorway or anything, but I really like driving up like mountain roads and just like really scenic places. And I do have a tendency as well to like, rag it a little bit if I can.
Yeah.
But in general, I am a safe driver.
I'm not.
Is paramount.
No, I am. I'm not an unsafe driver because I know my limits. I found it hard driving over here because there's so much distraction around. Like when you see American streets on TV, like in town, and there's just stuff everywhere. There's billboards, there's McDonald's and Burger King, and there's power lines everywhere, and they don't really do roundabouts. They just have
stop signs,
traffic lights everywhere. So there's just a sort of sensory overload where driving in the country and whipping around country roads a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're
you can do
from
it a
New
bit more
Zealand.
free.
So like you're from New Zealand where there's like no such thing as a traffic light,
That's true.
and
Yeah.
like the roads are basically empty in comparison to the rest of the world. So you're a little bit spoiled, I'm afraid.
I am. I think I take that for granted. And then, of course, this basically leads into what you were saying, where you like driving, and I like driving, riding the motorbike to somewhere peaceful and quiet.
You're like absolutely ragging it to somewhere
Absolutely
peaceful.
ragging it through, and then because I love how peaceful something seems after you've been somewhere or been doing something hectic.
Yeah.
And it's anything, you know, when you get home from work and you sit in the car and it's so quiet, you don't go into your house, you just sit in your car because you know it's a zen place for a bit. So it's that doing something awesome and fun and exciting, and then being somewhere relaxing and peaceful and quiet.
Yeah.
And I love the combination of it.
Yin
really
and
do.
yang. You are the balanced human. All right, that's really cool. I did have something to say, but I forgot. So I'm just gonna, until it comes back to me, I'm gonna dive into my happy list and choose one on the fly. Because I've actually spoken about quite a few of like the big ones. So there's like one that I really haven't spoken about but is such a big part of my life, so maybe I should just speak about that now. Do you know what the weird thing is about all of this is that I keep having this funny feeling that I'm bearing my soul to everybody. I'm like full on bearing my soul, like every single podcast I'm like releasing a little bit of my like soul out to the universe, and that's like exciting and thrilling and also quite scary.
I've really enjoyed it because it's like, well, I don't get a chance to talk to you that much anymore. It's fun. I can still listen to you and get reminders of how awesome you are just by listening to your podcast. And
Stop.
but it's you expressing things, and it's good to just remember who you are, even though we're quite a distance. So carry on with the soul opening discussions.
I might save it because I'm going to save that one, I think, for a time where I'm ready to speak about it. But I'm going to talk about one now that's actually really funny.
Okay.
So I've recently moved in with one of my friends, and so as a pair, we're really well, like we get on so well. She's my best friend, and I am very like into my fitness, and so is she, to be fair, like on it with my fitness all the time. But she is also really good with like managing her food and like managing, whereas I'm like very much like a pot noodle type of person, where I will do the minimal effort to get the maximum amount of substance, if that makes sense. Like if it takes 5 minutes, that is okay. If it takes half an hour, I don't have time for that. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to move in with her and we're going to have such a good balance because she loves cooking and she'll be cooking like all these lovely meals, and I won't need to resort to like pot noodles and stuff. And then we'll be doing our fitness as well. So we'll keep up with the fitness, move in with her. A day later, she starts a home bakery. A damn home bakery. What am I supposed to do? So
well, obviously you have to test everything.
Exactly. There's no other option, right? Like,
there's not.
And every time she's like, do you want these like cut-ins? So she's cut the brownies all really nice and stuff. And then she's like, do you want these cut-ins? I'm like, of course I want these cut-ins. Who do you think I am? When have I ever said no to a bit of brownie? So it's a stressful situation, but it has reminded me as well of one of the things that's on my happy list. And it's one of the first things that I ever wrote down. And that is the simple pleasure in baking.
I love it.
I know you do, because you've started recently, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Yes, I have.
You baked your first cake. How old are you again?
32.
And you baked your first cake at the age of 32. That is shocking.
So my wife just had her 36th birthday in April, and she wanted a chocolate cake for her birthday. And I organised for some friends to come around, and we had mimosas and French toast and pancakes for breakfast.
Delightful.
And it was fantastic. And then so she wanted a chocolate cake, and she thought I was just going to go to Kroger, to the supermarket, and buy a packet of cake mix and mix it together and chuck some icing on it. And she just thought that's what I was going to do. Anyway, for those of you guys that want to look at my Instagram later, you'll see the picture of the cake that I made. It is just over the top, ridiculous. It was 3 layers of chocolate cake, really ridiculously moist because I just found the recipe for the moistest chocolate cake. Covered in some of the best chocolate icing I've had. Covered in, so the icing is between each layer and on the outside. And then it was covered in Hershey's chocolate sauce, so it dripped down the side, so you can sort of see the chocolate sauce dripping down the side. And then covered in pieces of chocolate, Oreos, Hershey's Kisses, little wafer chocolate balls, everything. It was.
Wait, do you hear that noise? It's everyone drooling. Literally hear everybody drooling as you're speaking.
We all basically went to a sugar coma after eating it. It was fantastic. So
oh my goodness, it looked like sugar coma inducing, and it looked delightful, and I was very jealous that you couldn't send me a piece, but I shouldn't be jealous because obviously I'm living at the moment with a home baker.
So are you getting into baking yourself then?
Not really, but it did remind me. So I love baking, and then it made me think about the reasons why I love baking, because it's not like something I do very often. And I was like, why do I do it when I do it? And I figured out the reason, the top reason why I love baking, and you're not going to believe it.
What?
I just love licking the bowl and spoon afterwards.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's basically the reason everyone bakes.
Is it? Okay, good. That makes me feel better. Because I was like, that is the only reason I think I do it. I think the only reason I do it is so I can eat like basically a raw egg and loads of flour and sugar with no guilt because I made a cake.
Like cream, butter, and sugar. You just cream, butter, and sugar together. I would eat that. Maybe some vanilla essence in there.
Oh yeah, buttercream.
Buttercream. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. So, and I was thinking back to like my memories, but so we, as like kids, we always used to make, well, my mum used to make our birthday cakes. Like we didn't really have like off the shelf birthday cakes. We just used to make them like little sponges and stuff like that. And I think that's why it's like growing up, always licking the spoon, licking the bowl, sort of helping, but not really helping. But I feel like, I don't want to say this too loudly, but I feel like I make better cakes than my mum these days.
Oh.
I know, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. Sorry, ma'am, if you're listening. But what's lovely now, though, is that so from a young age, like I started baking with my nephew, and his mum started baking with him as well. So, like he's got that love of baking as well. So he really enjoys making cakes and lemon drizzle and that sort of stuff. So, and he's pretty good. So I'm excited to get more cakes in my life, to be honest.
It's just a fun process because it's messy, and like there's no way you can come away from baking without batter all over your face and your hands and the bench and your clothes.
Just flour everywhere and
chocolate everywhere. It's a lot of fun. So
it is. And
I guess that helps.
My biggest flaw though with baking is not letting the cake cool down before I decorate it.
Well, I had to bake a cake yesterday for a friend's kid's graduation.
You're addicted now, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I am. And I was in a rush because the party was on at their house. And I had to put the 2 layers of the cake, because I made 4 layers high. I had to put 2 layers of the cake in the freezer to cool it down fast enough, or else the icing just would have, run off.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a bit ridiculous, but
it worked, right?
It worked, yeah, it worked.
See, I'm never that patient, or I've never got that foresight with baking. I'm just like, whap it on, and then you've got melted buttercream everywhere, and like bits of Smarties just like falling off, like a sad like smile, like no, dripping off the cake.
You put in all that effort to bake this cake, and then you just rush it.
Well, do you know what? I was only after the bowl anyway, so.
Well, see, this is why I like baking cookies, because you don't have to wait. I mean, you gotta wait for them to not burn your mouth, but it's only like a minute or two, and you can delve into them.
That's restraint. That is a minute or two. Fair play. I'm like,
Well, muffins are good as well, because you don't need to wait for them to cool down.
That's true. Or you could do what I do, and you could just move in with someone who does all the baking for you, and there's just cakes everywhere all the time.
It's true. It's a wise decision. You're so wise.
I'm so wise.
Mm.
She's got to the point now as well where like if I'm upstairs or she's downstairs, because she's like baking literally all the time and she's finished with the utensil, she's like, do you want to lick the spoon? And I'm like down the stairs like, hi, did you call me?
Just like when you were a kid.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
hey, you got to follow what brings you joy. It brings me joy.
It's one of those things that I don't think anyone hates baking, because everyone loves the results of baking.
True.
Right. So I mean, you can be bad at baking, and you know you don't want to bake because you're bad at it, but you still want to do it because you're still gonna eat the batter of the cake or the batter of the cookies or whatever.
Yeah. And if you're as talented as me at licking the spoon and bowl, then you don't have that much washing up.
Well, see, my
Hey.
problem is, my problem is I've got this great big beard, right? So if I start licking the spoon, and this happens every single time, so I start licking the spoon.
You save
if
some
any
for
of you guys,
later.
it's just like right down my bed, and then I have to go, not only like rinse it out, I have to go to the bathroom and like stay there for about 2 minutes just scrubbing cookie batter out of my beard, or cake batter, or icing, or a combination of all 3 or 4 or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
an absolute disaster, but it's great. I love it.
Yeah, same. I knew you'd like that one. And I could literally talk to you all evening. But I feel like now is the time for you to tell everyone if they want to follow your baking journey. You're in its infancy, but also your travels and what you're up to in general. Where can they find you?
Cool. So my Instagram handle is Balake from NZ. So I can't remember how you say it. BALAKAY from NZ.
What did you say? Bulky.
Balake.
Balake.
So I don't know if you've ever seen this. You're gonna want to go and watch this now. So there's a Key and Peele skit called Substitute Teacher. So Key and Peele are 2 Black American comedians.
Okay.
And they've got a skit about a black substitute teacher from like one of the bad parts of town, and he comes into this white private school and starts doing the role, and he's thinking everyone's got like real gangster hood names. Like there's a kid whose name's Aaron, and he calls him AA Ron, and D9 for Denise, and Balake for Blake. You gotta just go ahead and watch it. Go ahead and watch it. It is one of the funniest videos you'll watch in a long time.
Oh, is it on your happy list? # share your happy list.
That is on my happy list. Key and Peele, substitute teacher.
Well, regardless, so I'll post your handle anyway in the description, in the episode description. But now everyone knows the story behind it as well, so that's cute. And if they want to share their own happy list, they just have to use the # share your happy list, and I will find them. And my handle is Emma's happy list now as well, because I decided finally to change my handle. Did that confuse you for a bit, Blake?
Yes, horribly. No, I thought you might have started a new Instagram without like. You don't say new. You don't want another Instagram.
I don't want another Instagram account. I don't. Is it like life online is just, it doesn't really need to be split up in all those places.
No, because it's who you are, and
yeah.
So I get that, and it's just more administration as well, and administration sucks. So.
100%. I am definitely on board with that.
Administration is not a happy place. So,
coming from an accountant, that's a big statement.
I can tell you that.
Well, it's been an absolute delight as always.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you very much for sharing your stories and bearing part of your soul to everybody.
No problem.
It's been lovely. But for now, I will bid you good night. Well, no, it's good night for me and good day for you.
Yeah, it's 2:45 here, so time to go have a beer or do something.
Beautiful. And I shall catch up with you super soon.
Alright, ka kite. We'll see you later.